Hi, and welcome to Leopard Architectural Models. My name is Moses, and today we're going to show you how to, in Blender, design this foundation for a building that we can use for 3D printing. To start with, you're going to want to find yourself what they call a texture. Lots of places have free textures. We're going to get one off of polyhaven.com. And the one we'll be doing our sample with is what they call a seaworn block. And when they give the samples of it, they just show it on these spheres here. But this one here, the seaworn stone tiles, is the kind of texture we want to put on our particular foundation. We've already downloaded it. We have a directory set up with our Blender files and a whole file or whole folder filled with all sorts of different textures that we use. And we have the seaworn stone block you can see downloaded right here. So we'll go to Blender. We're going to start up a new file. To General. We are using a space mouse in addition with our regular mouse. You can see down here, this will tell you what we're clicking as well as when we're using the keyboards. You will find when you use Blender that the more you can use the keyboard shortcuts, the faster things will go. To start with, we're going to get rid of the camera and the light. And I'm not going to really worry about the actual size of what this is. So if we take a look, if we press the N key and expand out the side menu here, you can see it's 2 meters. I find actually probably better to just to draw a lot of things in meters and do a final conversion when I actually go and create the print file. Otherwise, if I actually draw it to scale, sometimes it seems like it just gets too small. So a lot of times I'll just pretend that 1 meter is 1 foot and do it that way. So if I want to change this to about the size, we'll just have some sort of building. I'm going to hit S and then X, and I can scale it. You can see it got bigger. We'll say it's going to be 15 feet in this direction, S and then Y, and maybe we'll make it, I don't know, 10, actually I guess it's 30 and 20 feet because it's actually was started out as 2. And to add a little bit, want to add a bit more interest to it, so we're going to hit Tab, what we call go to the edit mode. But also if you hit the Tab key, that can get you into that. And to show you something more than just a plain block, we're going to do what's called a loop cut. I'm going to change and actually do 2 loop cuts here. I'm going to hit the G button, and then the X, we're going to take a little bit off center. And then what I want to do is we're going to select this. Oh, I want the face, so I can hit this up here. I can also hit a number 3. If hit 1 will be vertex, 2 is a line, and 3 is a face. In this case, we'll hit that, and we'll just extrude it outwards a bit. Next step, what we're going to do is make this foundation hollow. So hold down the Shift button. I can select multiple faces. Do the other side. And then we're going to go to Inset Faces. And I'm going to, there's a menu down here. If I open this up, I can actually set this to a control number. And I'll try 0.1. Even that looks a bit thick. And the other thing you'll notice as I take a closer look at this, it gets thicker here than over there. So I need to back out and go into the object mode. One of the things I forgot to do, go to Object, Apply, Scale. Object, Apply, Scale. Okay, now we're all set. Select our faces. Both sides. We're going to go to Inset Faces. I can see it's doing it evenly. Try maybe about a 0.1, that's too small. About a 0.5. And that might be like a reasonable thickness. Maybe we'll go a little bit more. 0.7. And then now what we're going to do is hit the delete key. We're going to say we're going to delete all these faces. So we need to create this interior wall. To do that, I'm going to go, I can either select up here to hit a line, or I can hit the 2. So now we're set up here, and if I hold down the Alt key and the line, it will select an entire loop. And I'll do the same thing in this upper part here. So now I have, and the Shift, that will select multiple items. So now we have both the lower loop and the upper loop selected. I go to Edge, Bridge Edge Loops, and you can see we now have an interior on our foundation as well. Let's pretend that maybe our foundation, there's a doorway that perhaps we want to have someplace. We're going to go back to Loop Cut and do 2 loop cuts. But you can see that these loop cuts aren't square. So I go to the wireframe view. I'm going to switch to vertexes. Select all of that particular loop cut that I did. I'm going to hit S, Y, 0, enter. And now they're all perfectly lined up. S, Y, 0, same thing. I can then move, cut out, and we can slide it along here a bit. Maybe we'll force it a bit more towards that side there. Next I'm going to hit 3 because I want to select faces. You notice the dots appear in there. Select all those faces, hit the delete key, faces. I now hit a 2. I'm going to hold the Alt key because I want to select a loop cut. Go to face, grid fill. I'll do the same thing on over here. Hold the Alt key, select a line, edge. Go to face, grid fill. And we'll hit the tab key to go back to the object mode. And we'll go back to a shaded mode. So now that we have the base foundation drawn, the next thing we want to do is add some modifiers to this. I'm going to start by adding a subdivision surface modifier under Generate, Subdivision Surface. I want to change it to Simple. And let's say we'll go up to 3 on the viewport level. We're going to add another one on top of that, so that's just subdividing it even further. Adds more what they call geometry, some more nodes that we can use to improve the resolution of our image. And select Simple, take that up to 3. And then we go and we hit the Deform Displace modifier. This is where the fun really begins. So we go to New, New Texture. I want to actually go down here and open up the image. We're going to go select the Sea-Worn Stone Block image we downloaded previously. In the file that you want, no matter what texture it is, there's going to be one that probably have a DISP, which is for displacement. You select that, open, and right now you can see it doesn't really look like much. What we want to do is have this upper part be all one face, the bottom side be all one face, and then as well as the kind of the outer edge is really what the biggest thing that we're most concerned about. So we're going to go and select an edge. We'll hold the Alt key to select a loop. I'm going to say, go to UV, mark a seam. I'm going to then do the same thing over here. UV, mark seam. So those 2 edges, UV, mark seam. We'll do the same thing on the other side of our foundation. UV, mark seam. In fact, you can do a bunch of these all at once if you want to. Then we're also going to go and then select the inner edges. Hold the Shift button down. As well for marking our seams here. Say UV, mark seam. So the idea is that we want to have one piece of wrapping paper that's continuous and keeps the pattern as a uniform piece all around the outside so that the bricks line up and are the same scale and direction throughout the entire outside of the foundation. So you can see that the foundation is looking very much distorted. So next thing we want to do is go to what they call the UV editor. So click on UV editing. What I want to be able to do is really select all the surfaces. And I'm going to go and click, sorry, go over here, UV. There we go. UV, I want to use the conformal unwrap conformal. And what this will do, let's see if we select a face, one of these edge faces. These edge faces are all nice right in a row. That means that all the bricks are going to be lined up in all the seams once we finally do the unwrap and take a look at it. So now you can see it still hasn't really changed anything. That's we have to go back to the displacement modifier, change the coordinates from local to UV, and it's almost starting to look like something. We're going to change the strength down to a more moderate number, 0.1. It seems like it perhaps went away. We'll just cook it up maybe to like a 0.15. Really what I think it is, the bricks are too large. You can kind of get a little bit of a sense of it. So we need to go back to the UV editor. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to scale it way on up relative to the texture. Go back to the layout mode. And you can see the bricks are starting to form into place. I'm going to take the resolution up with the subdivision subsurface modifier here a bit more. You can see the bricks are forming. And another thing you can also see that's going on here is that the bricks are oriented in the wrong direction. So one way we can correct that is we go to the texture and we go down to the image. You can see under the mapping it has what they call flip axes. And everything is rotated now 90 degrees in the orientation that we want. But the bricks are still too large. So we're going to go back to UV editing, zoom out a bit more, maybe scale them about double what they were. Go back to layout. Now you can see we probably actually did a little bit too much, and our strength is probably more than what we really want. So I'm going to go back to the displacement modifier, down about maybe about a 0.1. A lot depends just on how rough you want your bricks to be. Maybe even a 0.06 would be sufficient. I'm going to go back to the UV editor and just scale it back a little bit less than what we had. Back to layout. There you can see we got about 4 stone bricks in height. Resolution still isn't that great, so I'll take this up to, I hate going this high sometimes. It does take a lot of memory out of it. Slow it down, but now you can see we have 5. And this is probably going to be a good enough resolution right here for this kind of quality for 3D printing. It is somewhat pixelated, and maybe I would take it up another one. But generally speaking, I use a resin printer, and this kind of detail just kind of blends together once it actually gets printed in real life. And you can see that the 5 here is really slowing down the computer a lot. So I did take these both up to a 5, and it really does get some super resolution out of it. But a little bit concerned it's going to really probably take too much memory, especially when you make the print file. I would recommend probably just taking these back down to both to like a 4, and then creating the print file at that point. Maybe it doesn't look as good on the screen, but I'm going to guess this should probably print okay. What we can do to just improve, let's say just this one wall, if we wanted to, get back on in here, hit a tab. Let's say only this one wall needs improvement. We can add a loop cuts in here. We have to put 2 loop cuts in. Go back to the object mode tab. And that will actually double up the resolution on this side and improve the appearance. You can see quite a bit without having to change it throughout the entire surfaces for everything. And at that point, we now have a stone foundation. So thank you for your interest, and appreciate you watching Leopard Architectural Models.